Hello, and welcome to Your Sparkly Brand. We're here to inspire and empower female entrepreneurs like you. This podcast is all about delivering no fluff, high value content that helps you grow your business. It doesn't matter if you have no budget and are still DIYing everything on your own. We're giving you the tips, tools, and strategies you need to build a sparkly empire. I'm Lauren Tassi, a copywriter and launch strategist, and I'm here with my co-host and brand designer extraordinaire, Megan Gersh. Hey, Megan.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm literally just taking a small break for this podcast. I've just been so crazy with work this week, which is a good thing. It's feels good to be super busy, but it's just I started 2 different branding projects at the exact same time. And it's just been a lot. So excited.
Yeah. It totally makes a difference when you can just sort of flow things the right way. It's well, this starts this week, this starts that week. And then there's just kind of a wave to it where when everything starts at the same time, it can kind of be a little overwhelming.
Yeah, exactly. How are things on your end?
Pretty good. I am not overly busy, but I've also kind of set myself up that way right now just because I'm, doing all the wedding planning stuff. So I wanted to leave space for that and not be too overworked.
Yeah, definitely. So excited for that.
Yeah. So what was your sparkly moment this week?
So I actually just got off of a TikTok live that was super amazing. I was collaborating with a friend of mine, Jill, and she is an ex-Googler. That's what they're called, a person that used to work at Google. I'm hoping to get her on the podcast at some point very soon. But yeah, it was just a really amazing conversation. We were talking all about how being a woman in business can be different and their approaches can be different. And I was oh, this is perfect. We talk about this all the time on the podcast. And so it was just a really great live session. There were lots of questions. So yeah, that was my sparkly moment.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, she sounds like she'd be great for us. So I kind of talked about this a few months ago when it was still in process, but it's out in the world now. I took a copywriting course a couple years ago, right when I was first setting up my business. It's called Write Your Way to Freedom. It totally changed everything for me. And I will put a link to it in the show notes, but it's totally come full circle because now I actually created a lesson for this course. A lot of people don't know this, but I find a lot of good clients on Upwork. And I sort of have a system for how to build your profile and, get started right away and do it the right way versus kind of meandering, which is what Upwork doesn't really necessarily guide you in the right direction when you get started. So we've talked about this. I think we're going to do an episode on this too. And it can be more general, not just for copywriters, but that lesson is out in the world. People are taking it and getting value from it. And I just really like being on sort of the teacher educator side of things, and creating that lesson and putting it out was super fun. So I'm really proud of that.
That's awesome. Do you think you'll do more teacher type stuff in the future?
I hope so. I really I like doing it. And it's so different from marketing my business or doing client work. It's just a whole breath of fresh air. So I definitely want to find more opportunities to do that.
Awesome. Yeah. I would love to learn more about I'm excited to hear about the Upwork process and such in that upcoming episode. So today we're answering lots and lots of questions that we have received about how to get more sales in your business. And so obviously sales is pretty much the backbone of your business. It's how you generate revenue and it's how you continue to help your clients. And so when it comes to sales, we want to think about short-term versus long-term sales. Obviously, if you need cash right now in your business, short-term wins are going to be helpful in, getting that business rolling, but you also need to be thinking about longer-term plays in your business. Now, this could be when it comes to your marketing strategy or even the types of clients that you're going after. So, higher ticket versus lower ticket projects, but both need to be integrated into your overall strategy for you to see success. When it comes to the longer term strategies, it helps to build your brand. So this means showing up online, creating social media content, creating a community, whether that be over email or through, networking events, those kinds of things, and really connecting with people. You never know what, when you meet someone new, if you start interacting with them, which one of those seeds could potentially, turn into a sale down the line. We will give you some examples of this throughout the episode. So let's start off with our first question. I love this question. How do you pre-qualify leads?
Oh, this is such a good question. So I'll give some answers without any background as to what type of business or what kind of what's a quality lead and what's not. I'll just share some of the stuff I do and things I've seen that work. And my biggest one, and that not everyone agrees with this. I actually think you don't do this, and this is something I do, but I put my prices on my website. I don't want to get on the phone with anybody who is going to have sticker shock out of nowhere. Not only are my prices on my website, but they're also on the form you're going to fill out to book a call with me. And it's just right next to what package you might be interested in, it's how much it costs. So that way you're not going down my sales funnel unless you're in the same ballpark with me in terms of pricing. So that's my biggest one. I also it depends where where your leads are coming from. And you kind of want to work backwards from if you're running Facebook ads or something, we might need to look at the copy or the creative there and really just sort of see like, okay, well, if I'm not getting the right leads, then how can we tweak where the leads are coming from?
Yeah. And I mean, it's funny that you mentioned the website side of that. That's not something that I implemented on my website until about a year ago, because I had the same kind of like thought around that too. Like, oh, if they see my prices, like they might scare them away. But in reality, when you think about it, you want to be kind of scaring people away, because the wrong people will come in and they will say like, oh my God, like that's too much. Or like, I can't believe that, get that sticker shock. But even like one workaround that I have found that works nicely with that is putting a line of text that says like starting at $5,000 or whatever. So that way it doesn't like cap you, but it gives them kind of a baseline of like, it's minimum. If you want this type of service, this is the minimum that you're going to be paying for this.
Yeah, exactly. Because somebody who is looking to pay $50 and your service is $5,000, like they're going to leave right away. They're not going to fill out your form. They're not going to waste your time, which is the most important thing. You don't want a million leads that aren't going to ever convert. So yeah, I think that the starting at is great.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's move on to the next question. Is there a better way to get people from TikTok to buy other than driving them to an email funnel?
So I think that honestly, driving them to an email funnel is a great way to kind of start that process. Even if you can offer something free and, like as a kind of like intro offer, maybe that's a checklist, maybe that is 10 ways to style this scarf or something like that, where it's like style tips or, some kind of freebie that you can offer them just to get them on that email list, because it's going to be helpful. I mean, ultimately, I think it's going to come down to people on TikTok are very visually driven. And so when you can deliver value to them in a visual way without being hard selly, I think that if you have a good product, it's going to be really, really easy for you. If you can explain the benefits of that product, like how am I going to feel? Like what kind of ambiance is this going to create? Like, what type of person am I, if I'm moving toward, some kind of avatar, if I want to be like, let's say I want to be a bodybuilder, right? Like if I'm trying to get there, how is this product going to help me get there?
Yeah. And I think the thing about email funnels, it's not necessarily that you have to set up an email funnel in terms of like the sale has to happen through the email or that's where the relationship has to happen. It's just that once you get that email, you then have that direct contact to the person. If TikTok goes down for the day and you don't have a way to contact them, you don't have a way to continue building the relationship. So that's just why so many funnels include email somewhere, is just because then you have that, personal connection. You show up in their inbox, you can, continue to sell to them, continue to build that relationship, whether or not you're using a social platform.
Yeah. One thing I will add too is like a lot of people are not utilizing the strategy of going live. And so going live on your social media, especially TikTok, is like a great way to really connect with your audience, answer their questions in real time, and have a conversation with them one-on-one. This is like access to you that they normally wouldn't have. TikTok is pretty passive. I mean, you can create a video and people can comment on it. You can get back to them, but on live, it's really pretty much like one-on-one. You can answer things in real time, and it's really, really helpful in building that connection. Okay, so let's move on to the next question here. Let's see. We have, how do I write a high converting email funnel?
Ooh, this is such a good question. So the first thing we have to think about, right? And the answer here is going to depend on how much is your product or service, right? Because what it takes for somebody to spend $20 versus what it takes for somebody to spend $2,000 are two very different things. If it's a $20 product, and this is sort of when we can talk about short-term sales and long-term sales, right? Offer a discount, right? Maybe price your product at $25 and then give them a $5 off coupon. When it's a smaller price point, you can do things like that. You don't have to build the relationship so much because it's just $20. It's not, I buy stuff all the time when I see a targeted ad and I'm just like, oh, $20, $30, not that big of a deal. You're not you're not necessarily like Googling, like, is this a scam if it's a $20 or $30 product? Now, if we're talking about something in the, hundreds or thousands of dollars range, you need to do some relationship building in your sales funnel. Again, depending on if it's a product, if it's a service, it just depends on what your business is, but it all comes back down to like knowing your customer and your ideal customer and really writing to them and talking, getting inside their head and think about like what's keeping them up at night. What problems can your product or service solve? If it's a busy mom and she just can't, she's so stressed and she just, really needs coffee or something. And you sell coffee and you can like, get really specific into like what, the baby's up at 4 a.m. and you got to feed. And then you just need that jolt of caffeine to get you through the day. So it's getting specific and it's speaking directly to them and not sort of speaking in broad of terms like, hey, moms, buy some coffee. It's like that baby's keeping you up all night and you just need to enjoy that fresh cup of organic brewed coffee in the morning. So getting specific is really one of the best ways to increase conversions. Anything to add?
I think one of the best, so full disclosure, Lauren and I have worked on a email funnel of mine together because she is, of course, a copywriter. And one of the best tips that you gave me during that process was to talk about your client or customer more than you talk about yourself. And this is something that, of course, we say all the time in marketing, but I think when you are writing your own stuff, it's easy to forget when you're, saying like, I did this and I did that, like blah, blah, blah. But in reality, you want to say like, the client achieved this, or like, kind of phrase it in that way where it positions them kind of as the hero.
Ooh, yeah. That's such a good one. I also, it's the same in terms of like your email sales funnel. It's the same things you want on your website, or you want, in any sort of sales situation, you want testimonials and reviews as social proof. You want, them a little bit that they can get to know you. If you think about a sales page or something like that, it's like what elements are on there that we can also work into this sales funnel. And again, if it's a $20 product, maybe it's just like a quick snippet of a 5-star review. If it's a $2,000 product, then maybe it's a whole story about how a client, achieved this while working with you. So it just, it depends on what you're selling. Okay. The next question is, any advice on getting conversions up from going viral on TikTok? We had so many website visitors and I would have hoped that we would have gotten more sales. Oh, this is such a good one for you.
Yeah. This is something that I hear endlessly and that people ask me about all the time. So just because you have a viral video on TikTok doesn't mean that you're going to have a bunch of sales. There are so many different factors at play. My first question to you would be, was the viral video relevant to your business, or was it a personal piece of content? You're walking your dog and something funny happened. Like people post all kinds of TikTok content, especially when they're trying to mix in some like personal content with their business. So if it was a piece of personal content that maybe went viral, it might just be one of those things where you kind of just have to like have that viral moment and just let it go. However, if it was a piece of content that related to your business, related to your product that went viral, and you're getting lots of traffic to your website and no one's buying, I would probably say that that is a website issue. There's lots of different things that can break customer trust on a website. We talk about them a lot on the podcast, making sure that the page feels secure, making sure that it's a good customer experience, making sure that there's opportunity to buy on the homepage. I can't tell you how many websites that I look at from people on TikTok and they say, oh, I don't have any sale. Like I get all these views, but I don't have sales. And then I go and look at their homepage and there's not a single buy button on the whole homepage. It's like, how are people supposed to buy things without the opportunity? So there's a lot of different factors. Most likely, if this was related to your business, the video that went viral, it's most likely a website issue. If you want customized feedback on how to optimize your website, that is something that I could certainly help you out with. We will put a link to my website reviews in the show notes. Okay, so let's move on to the next question here. So this person says, my website generates a lot of international traffic, but I struggle to convert them. Any tips?
Ooh, okay. So again, we don't have a ton of information here, but I'm going to just make some general suggestions. If this is a product-based business, which I kind of think it is, my number one question is, what is your shipping policy? How prominent is your shipping policy? And how much is shipping? If you're in the US and you're shipping internationally, what does that look like? Is it clear? First of all, I worked with a client a couple of years ago and they had a banner on their website and it said worldwide shipping, right? Because they thought it was cute. And I was like, this is cute, but this is very important information because they were based in Morocco. Like, and I was just like, this is cute. Yes, but we need to make it clear. Like clarity always wins. So if you have, even if it's not free, even if it's, $4.99 worldwide shipping, or, we ship anywhere. It's interesting how many people still ask that question, even though so many businesses can ship anywhere. When I was selling out handmade products on Etsy, I shipped anywhere. It's so easy, but you need to make that clear because if you're a US-based business and you are shipping anywhere, just let people know, have a shipping policy page that you link to in the footer. I've been shopping for a lot of stuff online these days, and you'd be surprised how many places don't have that. And I'm like, to me, honestly, that's a trust thing, right? If I scroll down and like as somebody who knows how websites are laid out and there's not a direct link to a shipping policy and a return policy page, I'm gone because I don't know and I can't find that information. So that I would really examine what your shipping policy is and make sure that it's clear. And if you can offer free shipping or reduced shipping, that's great. Work it into your prices. Unfortunately, people just kind of expect that these days. That doesn't mean you have to pay for it. All the other companies, that's what they're doing. So you should do that too.
I was going to add on to that too. And you already kind of touched on that, but people do expect free shipping nowadays, which is like crazy for like, when we think about like, especially from the small business perspective, like obviously everyone has to pay for shipping. No shipping is truly free. Like people are just incorporating that into their cost, but there are statistics around like, if you offer free shipping, you will see, I think it's like a 30% boost in sales, which is like not nothing, like that is definitely something to take a look at and try to figure out, at least test in your business.
Yeah. And even the free shipping with a minimum or something, because then you're upping your, order value, you're getting it out there, like buy one as a gift. There's all sorts of great, interesting ways you can promote that too. And then another thing I was thinking of that doesn't relate to shipping, again, just not knowing the background of this, if it's international traffic that's not mainly English speaking, I'm not an expert in this, but I know that like you could hire a translator or something to have, take your copy and just, have it in, especially if it's coming from a specific area, having that, a separate page that they can go to that's in their language could possibly very much help with conversions if it's not a shipping issue.
Definitely.
All right. So our next question, how do I convert views into sales?
Oh, I love this question. It's honestly one of my most asked questions as well. So this is going to boil down to your content strategy. Lauren and I always talk about how like, it's so important that you give a lot, give more than you think you should take, right? So when you approach your content, think about how you can provide value to your audience, right? Like, so how can you make their day better? How can you educate them in some way? How can you entertain them or inspire them? I see so many business owners that just go on TikTok and they go, here's my product, here it is, like, here it is, and just like wave it at the camera. And it's like, okay, that's not how you're going to turn views into sales. I'm not saying that strategy will get you a lot of views, but like some sneak through the cracks. And so, when you provide value and when you approach your business with a service-based mindset, you'll see a lot better results. Again, going live is going to help, with this strategy. Building trust with your audience is essential in order to make that sale. So like people need to know, like, and trust you before they will buy from you. Obviously, this means, showing up consistently online, as well as, gaining their trust, making sure that your website is optimized for sales. I feel like I say this time and time again, but like there's tons of pretty website templates out there. Not all of them are optimized for you to make sales. Lots of people out there are website designers that make pretty templates and that's how they make their living, but they don't have the strategy and know the psychology that it takes in order to convert somebody from a website visitor to a sale. So just be mindful of that and just make sure that all pieces of that funnel are optimized.
Yeah. There's just, if you're getting tons of views and they're, it's related to your business, right? You touched on that earlier. Like if it's you walking your dog and you're selling soap, it's something else, but you have to look for like where the holes are in your funnel. And if you're getting views, but no traffic to your website, then what's happening there? Why aren't they going to your website? If you're getting people to your website, but they're not buying, they're not, setting up a call, then where's the hole there? So I think you've totally got that right.
Awesome. So let's look at the next question. Let's see. Is the Shopify ShopPay checkout option a good idea when it comes to Instagram and Facebook?
I love that this is a very specific question. So I have experience with Shopify. I had my own Shopify store for a while. This was years ago. Things have changed a lot. I did Google this, so I made sure I know what I was talking about. But the short answer is yes. This is anything that makes it easier for somebody to buy from you, we want to do 100%. And it is my understanding that the Shopify ShopPay app makes it so people can shop your store without leaving Instagram or without leaving Facebook. And they can, I personally, again, as somebody who's been buying a lot of stuff online lately, I use it all the time. I haven't actually completed a purchase that way, but I do really appreciate being able to look at how much something costs without leaving Instagram. Because before this was a feature, I think it's been a feature for about a year, you would have to go to the business's website to see how much something costs unless they made it clear somewhere. But now I can just, view shop and see the price. You can see what's on sale. You can browse by different, dresses or whatever you're looking at, white dresses if you're Lauren. And it just becomes super easy. And not having to leave Instagram app, there's like less of a load time, just less friction to make that sale. So I say use it 100%.
Yeah. And from someone who has used the ShopPay option a ton, I can tell you that has been the deciding factor on whether I buy something or not, because I know that this is going to take me a couple of seconds versus a few minutes, to check out, which makes it sound like I'm very lazy, but like, honestly, that is the decision process that like happens like when you are deciding to buy something. It has to be easy and frictionless for the customer. And so I personally love ShopPay because it just makes it like 2 clicks or something. It's so easy.
And I think it also like pre-fills your information too,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So it's dangerous on the consumer end, but
yeah. All right. Well, that's all the questions that we have for today. We honestly received a bunch of questions and this was not all of them. So we will be doing another part 2 to this mini series, I guess, but we will be answering more of your questions in the next episode.
We hope you got tons of value from this episode. If you learned something that's going to help your business grow, please leave us a 5-star review so our podcast can grow too. Thanks so much for listening. Until next time, stay sparkly.